Limi, makvier liefandomi, lali kairus, lali kalarangora.
I have the relevant skills and the experience within the aviation, and then now with the military, more specific.
Bom dia, Reino Unido. Boa noite, Timor-Leste. Ana sempre bem, embaixada sempre axolog, sempre contente quando siamo italiano em Siranebe, mas que desempenha papel importante em promoção da nossa pátria e da nossa bandeira e Reino Unido. Por isso, hoje, a equipa toma aqui embaixada axolog, siamo visita o italiano irmão, italiano compatriota, camarada companheiro, maual em Timor-Leste, nebe que sucesso em minha carreira profissional depois de minha muda mais muito com a família e a tina bara levar. Hoje nem permite eu introduzir irmão João Paulo, amro narahanesa, João Paulo JP hot só que apelido manca lá nessa. Irmão João, welcome to the embassy.
Thank you for having me here. Pleasure to be here.
Contente hasoro filfare, eu lembro vira e também o mãe, minha visita à embaixada, me contente teve. E vou tirar para irmão João. E tá bom na the first guest, ba podcast, e aí tem a new office.
Oh wow. Okay.
Office one, and so you know, honored to have you here.
Yeah.
And it's a great pleasure.
Yeah.
Irmão João, today is your show. People need to know who you are. Maybe ba maluk sira how can introduce irmão João Paulo, JP, serviço ba companhia bot Airbus. Ela é Oxford. E carreira a mim te auto atene kata halau. Assume na cargo nessa manager. Maybe te husik irmão João maka colia. Maybe antes de mais ita Maurice nebe, família Maxe. Hansa mak mai para ya UK. Ponta tok ita bot ne early beginnings. Molok o in Lawrence sai. Example ba mi hot. Alfabet.
Okay. So how muda mai ia Inglaterra ho financia ia 2003 mai tambah tu hanya pai serviço ihane ulu depois makan pai biang okay. Ia oportunidade dia kita bahan wan sira nebe sira karak wa bahan pai mai karak how o hani ping sira muda mai nebe ia 2003 ami tuir mai muda ia UK mislah hele Oxford hele ia sidar kikona narang Lowestoft. Okay, yeah, no basic Norwich, yeah, East Anglia na. Hele na ba kala sekitar tinang 5 o 6. Ya, lugu kida. E depois maka muda mai Oxford, maka ya hanya mori susi hele Oxford susi ya susi 2008 to agora.
Feel free to express yourself in English and mix with that. Feel free to do that. I think our audience is pretty much familiar with the program. And then ita mai tama escola ini primary school ka mai hanusa contato.
So
ita bot ne estudo to in lorong. Ita bot master's degree mos ne.
Sim.
Yeah, aviation industry curriculum level conta itu. But how did it all begin?
So yeah, it's a funny story because at first aviation or aerospace industry wasn't really my interest.
Yeah.
My first interest was being a geologist.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and because I like looking at rocks, I like telling the stories behind it because I feel like you know, looking at rocks they can tell stories from early beginnings until up until now. And yeah, so I started learning geography and life sciences. I just like learning at the early age.
When you finished your high schools, and then did you go directly to
No, so when I finished my high school,
Right.
I went to a college in a college.
So you went to the college first?
college doing my A levels,
Right.
and yeah, it was it was because it was hard. It was a challenge because the leap, the learning like progress from high school to college is a big step.
Is that right?
Yeah, so
Why
with
so?
again, this is just from my perspective.
Right.
From high school, you get loads of support from the teachers,
Right.
from the teachers' assistants. But then with college, you do get the support, but it's more independent. So
Right.
you have to take the initiative rather than them chasing you.
Right.
So and this is where the challenges that I faced, and it was a challenge at first, but once I'm used to it, I sort of got the hang of it, and yeah, and then I realized, okay, I actually like studying geology. I like looking at rocks. I like telling the difference between different minerals and
Right.
know about these things. But then the switch between becoming a geologist and having an interest to aviation is like, I think around 6 to 8 months into my first level of high school, college. I bought this remote control aircraft. And it was like one of them ones where you bought in a box and then you self-assemble it, and so yeah, I bought it and I was like, okay, let me try and assemble it myself. And since then, that's how I sort of like get the appreciation of and like the liking of the aviation and aerospace industry from there on.
Right, it's funny enough. Even myself, I really wanted to be a pilot.
Yeah.
At some stage in my life, especially when I was doing my degree in New Zealand, I really wanted to be a pilot.
Okay.
However, that pilot studies is not cheap.
No.
So I did, speak with the New Zealand government. They said, no, my friend, sorry, this is too expensive. We cannot finance this kind of studies.
Yeah.
And I also have some certain passion
Okay.
towards, about aviation. I think it's a very interesting industry,
It
highly
is.
technical,
It
however, very intriguing,
very much so. Yes.
area to explore.
Yeah.
Now,
Mm.
from college, where did you go?
Well, I did my college in Oxford, and then I was never an A or A star student.
Right.
I like to think myself as a B, C student, and then I managed to get into that college and did maths, physics, geography, and IT as a specialist in the area. And obviously, I worked hard for it, and then I applied to various universities around the UK, even outside the UK, some European ones as well. And but the university that intrigued me is University of Hertfordshire, and the reason why it has I have an interest in the university is because that university used to be an airport. So one of the campuses was a terminal for it's not a big airport like Heathrow.
Amazing. Really?
It was a small aerodrome, and then they turned that airport into a campus. So when you study there, you can actually still feel that airport vibe, the characteristics still there. And so and it's also quite known for its aerospace studies or aerospace technical studies and management. So I decided to go there, and I studied hard.
What was the degree called?
Aerospace technology with management and pilot studies.
Right. And that was your first degree?
That was my bachelor.
Your bachelor degree.
Bachelor degree.
Right. And then after that,
after that, I finished, and then I got hired by Airbus straight away. And then I worked with Airbus for a good 3 years, and then they funded me my master's actually. So Airbus paid for my master's for 3 years. Obviously, I couldn't do the master's in 1 year as the normal term, but because I was committed to Airbus as well, and they said, look, if you're still working full-time, we can fund your master's degree, provided that once you finish your master's, you're basically a tie-in with the company for
Yes.
2 extra years.
Right.
And so that's what I did.
Wonderful.
It's a good opportunity for me, and it's
No, just for our audience to know, but particularly those who live in United Kingdom, masira na bem maka maluk sira, ou ansira no hela ene jovem sira, claro. Cara universidade, você não fica que você não tem nenhum, mas então então irmão João faz uma experiência e tá bom que não vai à escola at university at first doing your bachelor degree. I mean, with all the respect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, who paid for your studies?
So
Did you obtain student loan?
Yes.
How did you do that?
So
I think that's I suppose it's kind of important for you to share, so the public
Absolutely.
also okay, the public should, I believe the public should know,
Yeah,
particularly
no.
the youngsters.
For sure. So yes, when I did my degree, my 3-year bachelor degree, basically I paid nothing out of my own bank account.
Wow.
Because it was done by the student loan. So there's like this scheme that is provided by the government, and also if you have the correct grades, doesn't necessarily have to be A star or A or extra, as long as it's adequate for the university. And then if you apply for the student loan, they will grant you the student loan for the entire of your degree, provided that you have to study and achieve those grades.
Right.
So they will pay for the
Straightforward, easy process.
The first process is quite hard, but once you get approved, everything's done automatically.
Right.
So that's the student loan process. And also there is another scheme called student grant, and I believe that's provided by each university. So each university has their own thing
On top of your student loan.
on top of the student loan.
Right.
And so if you do well, like if you achieve your first grade, like first honors,
Right.
like consistently in each semester, they will grant you an extra money on top of your student loan. So that's like an incentive, a motive for individual to work hard,
Wonderful.
to achieve. Well, it certainly motivated me to stay on top of my studies, to just get that extra.
Did you get grant yourself?
Of course, yeah. I got
wow.
the full grant, because student in a university near London, it can get a little expensive,
Right.
even for students. So
Right.
I thought the one way that I can sort of sustain myself during my university time is, to study hard and get those incentives.
By the way, who are your parents?
My parents. So my dad is called José Antonio Goncalves.
Senhor José.
Yep.
Okay.
And my mom is called Maria Liu. So my dad is originally from Ermera,
Right.
but I think he grew up in Delhi. And my mom is half Chinese or half Hong Kongese and half East Timor.
Right.
Also born in Delhi and grew up in
How
Delhi.
many siblings do you have?
I have 3 siblings. I'm the youngest.
Is that right?
Yeah, of the lot.
All of you live here, no?
Yeah. No, my brother's in East Timor right now.
Is he right?
Yeah, he's actually
Okay.
getting married in August. So.
Okay, well, I wish him all the best.
Yeah.
Anyway, just allow me to say this. O Senhor José ou Senhora Maria, ao em nome do Estado de Timor, agarrece. Agarrece também te pode ser apoia e te pode ser um cidadão timorense, compatriota, que halo podia sair pela mos, ao fiar que sai, e te outro fiar, né? Sai exemplo, ba mos ser selo. Fiar que tá barak mana sene, te espera que te lo outro tipo de comida, abamoro tipo de comida mais, né? Mas ba Senhor José, Senhora Maria, chapeau, agarrece, Estado agarrece e for parabéns, vai te pode ser. Anyway, then now tell us about your professional career, how it all began. I mean, you mentioned you got hired directly by Airbus.
I did, yeah.
That in itself showed that you must have done very well at the university to be recruited straight away upon the completion of your study.
Yeah.
So please share with us, how did you do that?
So when I finished my study, obviously, if you're in the aviation and aerospace industry, Airbus is the pinnacle, you know.
Oh, yes.
Airbus and Boeing is the two major
Right.
aerospace company in the field. So obviously no one can compete with those two.
Right.
And so I'm the sort of person where I'm a bit modest. So I've applied and I just didn't think, okay, you know, I got the grades, I'm just going to give it a go with no hopes of getting hired.
Right.
And then when I applied, about 2 months in, I've received an email and from the Airbus team and say, oh, we've noticed your application, we'd like to interview you. And so, yeah, and I had my interview early December, can't remember exactly the date, but yes, it was early December, and then literally about 4 hours later, they called me and they said, okay, can you start in January?
Right.
And so I think this is where my professional career started from there on. And then
How long have you been with them?
10 years.
10
Yeah,
long
10 years in
years.
January.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I've worked up from basic operation level all the way up to managerial position right now.
Right.
So my current position is the military support team leader, where I am in charge of all the material movement, all the logistics movement, all the technical material movement for the military contracts, basically, that we have with.
What kind of contract is there?
So at the moment, I am working. For obvious reasons, I can't say any details, but I'm working on setting up a contract overseas with the UK military Ministry of Defence to get them prepared to
But anyway,
process.
just to make sure our audience know what we are talking about. When we mention about Airbus, people would think, this must be a fixed wings airlines.
Okay, yes,
You know, jumbo jets.
Yeah.
And now you are dealing with military. I know that there are issues that obviously you will not be able to share just because of the professional reasons. But could you just, explain about this so people know, okay, in fact, there are differences in the industry.
So when I refer to Airbus, I am working within Airbus, but in the helicopter division, not the fixed wing division. Helicopter. I find helicopter being more challenging, more technically challenging, anyways. Yeah, because of the moving parts and everything.
Okay.
And so I find that more challenging, but more enjoyable, because to me, I'd like to basically, if something that's challenging for me, I see it as a challenge, basically. Yeah. So complicated things, I like taking a head on and trying to find a solution.
Wow.
Whereas
that's a very good mindset.
Yeah. So with the Airbus helicopters that I'm that in my role right now is making sure, mainly deal with the military contract, at the same time making sure that some of my VIP customers and Part 145 organizations.
So I mean, you are basically now referring to UK military helicopters.
Yes, UK military. Because where we are in the UK, my only customers is UK military at the minute.
Até para aí tá tendo, irmão João, serviço e a divisão né, que toma conta materiais, armas militares, né, ali leva avião, helicóptero. Leva que por razões profissionais, claro que leva explica boto tudo, mas se não halo ita solo que tá, cada ita nem malo guida, nebe serviço toma conta for apoio ba militar Reino Unido né. Se usa tua carga zure tenia militar, nebe que ita mas deu que helicóptero. Vamos ver. Vai ter o senhor irmão João Maculia. In your current role now, what exactly do you do?
So
I mean, it's been 10 years.
Yeah, it's been 10 years.
Professional career.
Yes, but the current role is relatively new.
Is that right?
Yes,
okay.
Because I got promoted to this position.
When was that?
A little over 2 years ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. I'm still finding my feet.
Is that right?
Yeah, meaning I'm still learning.
Okay.
Because it involves a lot of other things.
I can imagine.
But it's like I said, it's challenging, but I like taking on challenges, and At the moment, I am dealing mainly on, as you know, with the military-related contracts.
Right.
At the same time, I'm also dealing with a few a few civilian customers, VIP and Part 145 organizations. When I say Part 145 organizations, I'm talking about those maintenance organizations. So in the UK, there's also various maintenance organizations in the UK where they repair and overhaul Airbus helicopters. And then it is my responsibility to approach them, to provide support to them to make sure that they have the adequate material, technical.
Irmão João, so basically you sell the helicopters to British Army.
Yep.
But also you also provide maintenance services for the helicopters.
We do, exactly. Yep.
Plus trainings.
Yeah. Not me personally,
to the pilots.
but the company.
I mean, your company.
Yes.
Like, does your company also provide professional trainings for UK
Absolutely.
military pilots?
Everything.
Is that right?
Yes. So the contract that I'm working on now is exactly this. So we provide everything.
What is the cheapest, helicopter you sell?
It depends.
If you don't mind me asking.
It depends on which one you want.
Well,
so,
I mean, the cheapest that anyone can imagine.
So
the cheapest, I mean, military.
The cheapest
military
one,
aircraft that can fly. I don't know, 2-3 hours.
2-3 hours.
Like flying from Delhi to VKK just to say hi to Presidente da Administração Municipal and then come back.
With that, I guess I can say H125, which is like the most used, it's like cash cow for the civilian world, because those are the popular helicopter that we sell.
Okay.
H125, and yeah, they're very reliable.
Do you also sell to public?
Yeah, we sell.
Right.
Our business model, we provide to public, to paramilitary, military, private,
right.
Anything. And then the good thing about Airbus in the UK is that we can customize the helicopter to the standards that anyone wants, provided that it's within the regulations.
I see. So in that sense, how much? What is the most expensive helicopters that perhaps your company has ever sold?
The most expensive is probably our newest product, H160, and that goes, I believe it's about 19 million.
19 million?
Yeah, 19 million.
I think Timor-Leste can afford 20 of them.
But H160 is the newest model.
Right.
It has one of the most advanced technology in helicopter.
Right.
And it's the 19 million is just for the basic configuration.
Mm-hmm.
It's not including any configuration that you want. So obviously with
additional configurations,
additional money,
it comes with its own costs.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right. Now, Irmão João, I remember, I still recall, fondly when we first started our contacts.
Mm-hmm.
You demonstrated to us, the embassy, that you are in fact also interested in going back to our country.
Absolutely.
Especially to support our FDTL.
Yes.
In its aviation departments or component part of it, which we don't have it at the moment. But obviously one day FDTL will have to diversify and invest a little bit more. And having 2 or 3 helicopters would be great.
It would be.
Now, what made you really want to go back and contribute to our motherland?
So, I mean, it comes back to being a Timorese.
I imagine you have a nice, comfortable life here.
I wouldn't
Timor
say
is more challenging, but this is very patriotic spirit. So
exactly.
please share with us.
Exactly. So, like when I left, I remember when I was a kid, when I left East Timor, I said to myself, like, look, I'm gonna come back and and I want to contribute more, not just being a Timorese itself, I mean, I'm doing the best I can here, but I want to go back and say, look, I've done something. It can be anything, but given that I have the relevant skills and the experience within the aviation, and then now with the military, more specific in that field, and then I found out that we in FFDTL, there's a young and growing Air Force, and so I really want to help, and they've been super helpful. And you know, I appreciate the input. I appreciate the listening to me, and they're helping me up until now. But I guess I just need more of a platform to sort of, you know, tell everyone, not everyone, like tell the relevant people, say, look, we really need.
Well, the Citizen Connections, I believe, is the right platform for you to use and for us to use to promote you. Promoting meaning in a good sense. Hopefully our, you know, His Excellency Minister of Defense, Itaniam on board, Signor Adano, if you know, hopefully he will get a chance to see this program and then find out that in fact he can count on your support. I definitely, you know,
for sure,
give you our full support. So please carry on. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's all right. And so I've reached out to the Air Force component of the FFDTL.
What did they say to you?
And they said that they will provide the support, but I believe the green light, the authority needs to come from the Ministry from the government. You know, so I believe that's where I'm trying to get a platform to see if I can, not just me personally, but I will represent Airbus, and to speak to the relevant personnel, relevant authority in East Timor, and just relay the idea that, you know, we need some vertical lift aircraft, VTOL, to help with domestic affairs.
Exactly. You know, it's only my personal opinion. Timor is a completely mountainous terrain country. Logistically, very challenging.
That's exactly one of the reasons why we need helicopter more than ever.
Logistically, can be very challenging during the raining seasons. But now, taking into account having a prime minister like ours, whom we love and we love and very dear to us. Let's imagine the prime minister, or even the president, or even a minister, will have to go to Baucau in the morning and have another meeting in Mariana and a official dinner or engagement in Oikosi. How would you do that? You will have to fly.
You'll have to fly if you want to fit everything within 12 hours.
Exactly. I mean, so having a helicopter is not a luxury anymore.
No.
It's part of the necessity.
Exactly, especially for a mountainous terrain like
exactly, and you are professional in the area. I'm sure. I believe you know better than I do. Apart from being a necessity, but also efficiency.
Yes.
You save time, you spend a little bit more, but then you can do more. That's what I believe, and hopefully,
I agree with you.
Hopefully one day our 50TL. I mean, I'm sure they are working already in creating our Air Force. We can then have a few helicopters, you know, counting on your support and working directly with Airbus. Would be
that
perfect.
would be a dream for me.
So
Yes.
please do share with us, what is your intention? What would you really like to do to help the creation, perhaps? I mean, I'm referring to help our possibly future Air Force.
So my main intention is to grow Air Force, to grow the FFDTL Air Force in general. You know, I see our neighbors, the Air Force, like the Philippines, the Indonesians, especially the Australians, they have a massive Air Force. And then when I see East Timor being, you know, little but growing, and it's developing at a really good rate, I want to contribute like with my experience and my skills
Right.
to even further develop it more and making that connections with the industry like Airbus, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and help it grow basically.
Right. Itene importante, itare kata itene sida down sirnebe maski e vida nebe que estabilizada ona, mas ia na fato involuntário para tu filha ba contribuir para itenerai. Ne demonstra mais uma vez timorense puro e duro, espírito patriótico nebe que forte teve. Portanto, ita agradece e solo. Hopefully soon you will find a way.
Yeah.
And we will do our utmost best to assist you in any ways that you need from our part. Now, what have you learned the most about aviation industry here in United Kingdom?
In the UK, the aviation and aerospace industry, that it's very dynamic. By that, I mean it changes every so often. I think that's part of the reason why I really like this industry, because every day you don't deal with the same thing. You know, every day you wake up, go to work, and you deal with different things at the same time, and so it keeps the interest there. Whereas like if it's the same sort of dealings that you deal with every day, it can get a little routine. Like it can get routine, but the progress can get a little routine, and which is good. Like, don't get me wrong, it's good, but for me, I like, you know, the challenge that it comes with,
Right.
Especially because it's this industry, this aerospace industry, is like the benchmark industry for any other industry. For example, especially when it comes to technology, all the technology that you see in any other industries, about 90% was started in aerospace industry. They've tested that it's safe to do so, and then it can get implemented to other industry,
I agree.
and
It's very highly regulated.
it's very
You know,
high.
people say, and I would like to ask you
Yeah, sure.
your professional opinion. People say that the safest transport means in the world is in fact the airplane,
It is.
and perhaps helicopters.
It is.
Is it good? Why so?
So, with the aviation and aerospace industry, quality is, you can't trade quality with anything. Quality and safety, I should say that, because both of these two is the sort of the pinnacle
Right.
of everything. If a new product is being designed and processed through the regulatory system, but if it's failed its safety and quality inspections or audit, that product is even if it's just one little bolt or nut doesn't manufacture to according to the specs, so the specifications, that product is just a dull product. You can't. That's where the process, the manufacturing process ends there. So with that, it's very highly regulated, and with the stats being the safest means of transportation in the world, being the aircraft, the aviation industry, I believe that's a fair statement. Yeah.
Now, your future plan, immediate plan. If not going to Timor, what else would you like to achieve? I'm sure you're doing very well in your career now. So
Yeah.
is there anything that you'd like to perhaps to do more before you eventually going return to Timor? Let me just put you these questions.
Yeah.
When are you willing to return? If
Whenever there's opportunity.
is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm flexible like that. I'm very flexible, and obviously if
Living all the wonderful life that you have here.
well, I wouldn't say wonderful. I mean, okay, you know, it's good. I wouldn't say wonderful, but it's good. But as I mentioned earlier, my ultimate goal is to go back to East Timor and just to help and develop the aviation industry even further. and also basically putting the aviation industry in the international market. I know AACTL and a few friends of mine that is in AACTL, the Aviation Authority in East Timor, is doing a wonderful job. You know, props to them. They're doing a very good in progressing it. But yeah, I'd like to put my input in further, you know, and make it further.
Okay. Now, your family, are they very supportive of your intention
Very
in
much so,
returning to
yeah.
Timor? Because I had a chance to meet with your parents. I think I met them in Reading, and also I met Mom recently at the in a previous office. They were very, very nice, very friendly, and very supportive.
I'm sure they are, yeah.
Could you also share about their
Yeah,
spirit in supporting their children to go back? Because perhaps other parents could also learn from them.
Yeah, so both of them very supportive. Like, I can't fault them for anything, especially in terms of my education from like bachelor, not actually bachelor, even before that, my college up until now. It's just they're really good. In a way, they're also flexible like that. So I think what the conversation I've been having with them, because I like to talk to them a lot, you know, being the youngest son and all.
That's good.
They like to go back to East Timor, like retire in East Timor. So hopefully one day.
Anyway, last but not least, how old are you, man, if you don't mind me asking?
I am 32.
Tinan tolonulu racing rua.
Yeah.
Iha una dala ainda ba sucesso, fiera ita tene kata desafio bara. Maybe ita deseja para irmão João lot of success.
Thank you.
And most importantly, be happy.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we can work together.
Yeah.
In the future. Before we finish, do you have a question for me?
Yeah, how do you get into this? How do you get into this international politics and diplomacy?
Well, you know, I actually did not even plan about it.
No?
Yeah, I had the privilege to be invited by the current president, Dr. Ramazort,
Right.
to be ambassador here in the United Kingdom, which I happily accepted the offer. But yeah, about 20 years ago,
Okay.
22 years ago, when the then minister, Dr. Ramos Horta, now the current president, when he was appointed as the first foreign minister during the transitional administrations of Untayed, and he was the first, and basically he founded the institutions, and he, with his program, recruited 50 people.
All right.
To be the future diplomats.
Okay.
I was one of them.
All right.
I was very young back then. I was in my 19 years old.
Oh wow. Okay.
Exactly. And then I eventually joined the ministry formally as public servant in 2001. But then I left the service in 2003, 2004.
Right.
As the life went by, after 20 years, when President Horta was elected in 2022, he said, look, I would like you to be my ambassador to the United Kingdom. I said, sir, I'm at your service. Let's do this. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
So, you know, to make it short story, yes, I did have some engagement with international affairs, but then I left. Now I'm back, and to be very honest with you, I'm enjoying what I do. I really love this job.
Definitely.
I'm honored and privileged to be the ambassador here and speaking to people like you, compatriots just like you, make me feel very proud to be Timorese.
And I'd like to also just to add, like ever since you stepped into the role a couple of years ago, you're very open in your line of work, which is good because then it shows to the other Timorese that is in the UK that you're actually engaging with the communities.
Well, that's very kind of you.
You're
Thank you.
supporting them, and yeah, it's really good to see that movement from as a Timorese person living in the UK, saying, oh yeah, the Ambassador JP is in Scotland, in Northern Ireland, supporting the communities.
Oh, that's very kind.
And so
that's
it's really good to see it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Feel
so
like
much.
we're part of the community. So yeah, it's really good to see it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Feel
so
like
much.
we're part of the community.
That's
so
that's
yeah.
good. Well, when I first arrived with the theme, we decided to have only two priorities.
Right.
First, at that time, is to bring the embassy closer to the community. Because after all, we are here representing the country politically, diplomatically. However, there is a force behind the entire system, and I call it the third and major force, and it is our compatriots, our community members. They are here promoting the countries. Of course, they do their works and live their lives, but they really make a difference here. Help the country, promote the country. So the embassy has to do its best to support it. And luckily, thank God, today we are able to issue passports here. We are able to renew passports here.
Right.
Even ID cards, national ID cards, we can issue them here. I think certificado de nacimiento, right?
Yeah.
We also issue here to our nationals. We established our consulate general in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
And recently we established honorary consulate in Glasgow, and soon we will be establishing our honorary consulate in Wales.
Oh, yeah.
So we want to make sure that at every corner of the United Kingdom, our flag is flown high with pride.
Oh, well, definitely really happy to hear that.
So with that, irmão João, mais uma vez, obrigado.
Thank you for having me.
A presença, a conversa, que é very inspiring, inspiradora. I also learn a lot from you. I think ita outro colega ser ita aprende você, irmão João. Hoje, maualing inafetam ser outro, compatriotas, companheiros, camaradas e concidadãos. Estou na Rohan, conversa com o irmão João. Espero que até aqui te voltará e te roto a muito aprender a valo e no fundo aprecia e tenha moal insira nebe contribui tebes para promoção e tenha bandeira como se tenha nação. Agora, para terminar nessa bye pode irmão João nara equipa toma cara durante a minha conversa e ele foi balo lá mundo vai te voltar larang e tem amores lá se sala. Muito obrigado por vossa atenção. Até a próxima edição.
Dame baimi, makfir li afandomi, la li kairu.